The judge's gavel fell, and my daughter's face drained of color. In that quiet courtroom, I didn't need to raise my voice. My receipt spoke louder than any scream. I left the key on the counter and walked away. Free at last. But trust me, that was only the beginning. The morning began like any other. I woke to the soft hum of gospel music from the kitchen radio and the smell of coffee brewing steady in the pot. The house was quiet, just the tick of the clock and the faint chirp of birds outside. I poured myself a cup, organized my pills for the week, and looked out the window at the azaleas I planted years ago. Their petals still held drops of rain from last night, sparkling like they had something to say. My late husband loved those flowers, I whispered. You'd be proud, Harold. Everything's still blooming. I sat at the counter and scrolled through the day's headlines until my phone buzzed with a notification. Instagram? I wasn't much for social media, but I followed my daughter, Monique. She hadn't posted in weeks, not since we talked about refinancing her student loans. I opened the app, expecting maybe a brunch photo or her dog, but the image that filled the screen froze me. Monique, in a white dress, holding a bouquet, standing on courthouse steps. Beside her, a man I'd never seen before. And behind them, two smiling strangers who looked too comfortable to be guests. The caption read, Fulton County Courthouse, yesterday. My breath caught. My finger hovered above the screen, trembling. I slid to the next photo. Rings glinting under rooftop lights, champagne glasses mid-toast, her face glowing like she'd stepped into someone else's story. No call, no message, not even a whisper of this moment. I set the phone down, pressed my palms to the counter, and counted. Inhale, 2, exhale, 4. My silent strategy, feel it, then file it. I picked the phone up again. The caption under the next post read, with the family that always supported me. Her new husband's mother had commented first. So proud of you, sweetheart. Someone else chimed in. Welcome to the family. Dozens of hearts and congratulations flooded below. I scrolled, searching for my name, for any sign of acknowledgement. Nothing. Even the comment from her college friend, your mom must be over the moon, was ignored. My name wasn't there. Not once. Not even a mention of her father. Gone but never forgotten. I opened my laptop, a reflex I learned from 20 years in hospital administration. When emotions rise, turn to data. I saved every post, every comment, time-stamped and filed them in a folder labeled wedding_proof. I opened my trust documents, confirming what I already knew. The house she lived in was still under my name. My trust, the deed, the payments, the down payment from my retirement account, all documented. The ring payment I'd sent through Venmo 3 months ago, still there with the note. For your dreams. I stared at the coffee gone cold, the steam replaced by silence. My mother's voice came back to me. Don't ever fight with noise when you can win with paper. I took a deep breath. Lord, give me wisdom, not volume. I considered calling her, imagined her face lighting up for just a second before guilt darkened it. Instead, I typed a message. Call me when you wake. I'm making pancakes. I didn't send it. Not yet. Instead, I forwarded the folder to my attorney's assistant with a simple text. Need to meet today. Urgent. The light outside grew brighter, washing the living room in soft gold. I turned one of the framed photos on the shelf, our last Christmas together, facing the wall. It wasn't anger. It was preservation. A quiet declaration. I will not be erased. I dialed Monique's number. It rang once, twice, then went to voicemail. I hung up before the beep. My voice would only sound tired. Instead, I whispered to Harold's photo, "You were right, document," then decide. I opened the safe, pulled out the binder with the trust, the deed, the property ledgers, all my life in paper form. I stacked them neatly beside the phone, right next to the screenshots. The phone rang again, just once. The caller ID read, Attorney's Office. I picked it up before the second ring. "Good morning, Mrs. Williams," a calm voice said. "Can you meet in 40 minutes? "Yes," I said. "Steady now. Please prepare the transfer documents." The call ended. and I could feel my pulse settle into something deliberate. I gathered the trust binder, copies of the deed, and the screenshots from Instagram into my tote. My coffee had gone cold again, the same as yesterday, an unspoken metaphor I didn't need to say out loud. The azaleas glowed pink beneath the rising sun, fresh from the rain, as if mocking the silence inside the house. I texted my daughter one clean line. "Congratulations. I'm available when you are." It stayed delivered, not read. I slipped on my flats, locked the front door, and dropped my keys into the bowl like punctuation. Control, not impulse. Driving toward Midtown. I hummed along to a gospel chorus, keeping my breathing even. This wasn't about anger. It was about paperwork. By 8:45, I was seated in my attorney's office, a 19th floor suite with a skyline view, half lit by shy sunlight pushing through clouds. The room smelled faintly of lemon oil and printer ink. My attorney, Mr. Reed, adjusted his glasses and said, "Let's get to the facts. Mrs. Williams." I laid out the documents like I'd prepared for trial all my life. Trust deed, occupancy agreement, proof of tuition, proof of the down payment, receipts for the wedding dress wire. His assistant nodded as she scanned each one into the system. "You've got every receipt anyone could ask for," he said. "That's the kind of foundation that holds in court." I smiled faintly. "I don't punish." "Mr. Reed." I set boundaries. He outlined the next steps. As trustee, I held full rights to sell, lease, or retain the house, a notice of intended disposition. He called it simple but powerful. I asked him to include an offer of first refusal for my daughter and her husband. 30 days to buy at appraised value, I said. "No surprises." He nodded. "That's ethical and enforceable." I watched the documents print, one after another, the weight of each sheet grounding me further. When he handed me the engagement papers, my hand didn't shake. The notary stamped each page. The sound echoed like a heartbeat. "Facts only, no adjectives," Mr. Reed reminded me. "I'm not writing a diary," I said. "I'm writing a record." That line made his assistant pause and look at me differently. We chose a discreet realtor, someone without family ties, and scheduled the appraisal for Monday. I forwarded proof of the payments I'd made for the wedding dress and the tuition balance, saving them under exact file names. Precision was my new piece. "You can pick your captions," I murmured to myself, "and I'll pick my counsel." On the drive home, I called Monique once. It rang into voicemail. "I love you," I said softly. "Call me when you're ready to talk like family." Then I added, "A certified notice will arrive. Please read it, baby." I ended the call before my voice could tremble. Near noon, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. "This is Patricia Lewis," the voice said, sugary then sharp. "You're ruining their start." I kept my tone even. "Support has receipts. I have them." She hissed something about me embarrassing them online. "Ma'am?" I said. "Court clerks don't read hashtags." Then I hung up. The silence afterward was rich with relief. At home. I opened Harold's old toolbox. Inside lay the level he used to hang Monique's diploma. I placed it on the binder, whispering, "Balance, Harold, always balance." I lit a small candle, watched its flame flicker, then blew it out. This wasn't mourning, it was calibration. Before dinner, a courier arrived with a cease and desist letter from the groom's family council. I smiled, set it neatly beside my notarized packet, aligning the corners perfectly. My phone lit up again, this time with her name. I answered before the second ring. "Baby," I said, my voice even. "We can talk, off speaker." The phone buzzed just as I set the courier's letter beside my binder. I answered. "Steady, off speaker, please." My daughter's voice came soft, hesitant. "I can't, everyone's here." I could hear muffled talking in the background, chairs scraping. "Then call me back when it's private," I said. "This is a conversation for two grown women, not an audience." A pause stretched, then a whisper. "Okay, hold on." She moved somewhere quieter. Wind and a car horn confirmed she'd stepped outside. "What? You have 10 minutes," I said gently. No name calling, no threats, no recording. We keep it clean. I laid out the facts like stones in a row. Trust ownership, the 30-day window, the legal right to sell. It's not punishment, baby, it's procedure. Silence filled the line, thicker than any argument. Why didn't you tell me, I asked. The question wasn't a weapon, just a truth waiting in the air. She sighed. I thought you'd be disappointed, I replied. Disappointment passes, deception doesn't. She didn't answer. I softened my voice. We can be family and still use paperwork. Then it happened. A second voice, low and sharp. She's recording this. I froze. Consent to record? I asked. No answer. Just static and the shuffle. Monique, I said, voice steel-edged now. This ends now, or you confirm it's just us. It's just us, she said quickly. Street sounds bled through. I wrote the time down on the nearest receipt, circling it twice. Adults don't ambush, I said calmly. We schedule. I offered her something different, a Saturday mediation. Neutral space, church office or community center, one support person each, phones on the table, recording only if both say yes. She asked, You really want to do that? Yes. We handle this like adults, so Thanksgiving doesn't become a battlefield. After a pause, she agreed to noon. If Marcus can come, he can, I said, but the tone will stay civil. I texted confirmation and copied my attorney, my heart heavy but steady. She hesitated before asking, Can you pause the appraisal? I explained it was already scheduled, standard procedure. I'll give notice before access. That's respect, not approval. She brought up the dress payment. I confirmed the wire. No emotion sits. Support isn't silence, I said, and respect runs both ways. Her next dodge told me what I needed. Utilities were still in my name. Another red flag. I made a quiet checklist. Locks, codes, mail, utilities, HOA, verify all. Then the slip. The tax letter came to our apartment. That's how we knew the due date. My hand stilled. How did it get there? She hesitated. I don't know. Maybe Marcus changed the address. My voice stayed calm. That's mail tampering territory. We'll fix it Monday. Mom, it's okay, I said softly. We'll correct it through the county. Her silence spoke volumes. I'm not angry, I added. I just don't play with government mail. I ended with lines I meant every word of. I don't do chaos, I do calendars. You can choose honesty or strategy, but not both. If you want the house, bring a number, not a rumor. Her voice trembled. I hear you. Good, I said. Then I'll see you at noon. After we hung up, I emailed Mr. Reed. Summary. Suspected recording, mail redirection. Requested formal letters to USPS and tax offices, plus a consent to record form for tomorrow. Every detail logged, dated, saved to the binder. Order restored. I poured myself a fresh cup of coffee and placed my phone face down. It vibrated once. A DM from the groom's mother. A screenshot labeling me, a mother evicting for clout. I didn't answer. I just forwarded it to counsel and turned the cup slowly in my hands. Tomorrow, it would all be on record again. Saturday came warm and sharp with sunlight bouncing off the church's brick walls. I arrived 20 minutes early. Binder tucked under my arm, papers sorted, and a printed agenda clipped in front. Inside the small office, a folding table sat under a humming ceiling fan. The mediator, a polite young woman from the pastor's staff, smiled and said, We'll keep this respectful. I nodded, laying down the binder and the consent to record form beside it. Phones face down, I said. We'll speak one at a time, and if anyone wants to record, they sign right here. Monique and Marcus arrived a few minutes later, holding hands like nervous teenagers. We're here for clarity, I told them, not comfort. Marcus tried to laugh it off. Can we live stream to my parents? No, I replied calmly. This isn't entertainment, it's mediation. As we sat, something small blinked at the corner of my eye, a faint red light glowing from a clock on the shelf. I leaned forward. It wasn't ticking. I walked over, reached behind it, and pulled the cord. The light died. Who brought this? I asked. Silence. The mediator's brows shot up, Marcus muttered. It's just a clock. I turned it over, lens right in the middle. That's not a clock, I said, photographing it next to today's newspaper. That's a camera. My voice never rose. Without consent, this meeting ends now. Monique whispered, I didn't know. I texted the photo to my attorney. Adults solve problems. I told them. Children collect trophies. The mediator cleared her throat. Let's continue if everyone agrees to transparency. I nodded, though my patience thinned. I looked at Monique and asked, when did you decide I wasn't family enough to be told you were getting married? She blinked fast, tears forming but not falling. Marcus reached for her hand. It wasn't like that, he said. It was about comfort. Comfort for who? I asked quietly. I slid copies across the table. Proof of the dress payment, the down payment, the taxes I paid. Support is a receipt, not a caption, I said. This is how I love, quiet and documented. Marcus shifted, pulling a folded paper from his bag. We already have a lease, he said proudly, laying it down like a trump card. I took it, read once, twice. The parcel number was wrong, the signature wasn't mine. My deed was attached as a grainy scan. Counterfeit paperwork is still paper, I said, sliding it back across the table. And forgery is still a crime. The mediator sat straighter. This session pauses now. I gathered the fake, slipped it into an evidence sleeve, and requested copies for counsel. You have 10 minutes, I said, calm as a judge, to decide whether we continue or adjourn. I opened my notebook and drew 3 lines. You have 3 choices, I said. Buy at appraised value, lease back at market rate, or vacate by the courtesy date. Their faces were blank. There will also be a written apology for the exclusion, corrections to mail and county records, and no more recording devices anywhere. Monique whispered, I need time. You've got 72 hours, I replied. Respect is a verb. Choose it. When they left, the mediator sighed. I've seen families fight, she said, but not like that. It's not a fight, I said, stacking my binder. It's alignment. In the parking lot, I emailed Mr. Reed photos of the camera, the fake lease, and the mediator's notes. Preserve all evidence, I wrote. Then I texted my realtor to greenlight the appraisal. The air was hot, cicadas loud, but I felt cold inside, steady, clean, unbothered. Driving home, I saw my phone flash with a notification. A post from Patricia, the groom's mother, calling me unstable for selling their home. I didn't stop scrolling. Another alert followed. 1 new voicemail. The transcription preview read, I think you should see something about that wedding. I parked in my driveway, turned off the engine, and stared at the phone glowing in my lap. My thumb hovered, but I waited until my breath matched the rhythm of my heartbeat. Then I pressed play. The voicemail replayed in my ears like a sermon I didn't ask for. The coordinator's voice trembled. They told us to remove your name from the invoices. Said you didn't want to be involved. I sat at my kitchen table, headphones on, pen in hand, writing every word. I saved the file to 2 drives, printed a transcript, and labeled it neatly under voicemail. Evidence, May 18th. It confirmed what I already knew. Patricia, the groom's mother, had choreographed my erasure. Say it with your chest on taped, I muttered. Then act surprised when I play it back. I added a note in the binder. Intent, pattern of deceit documented. My coffee had gone cold again. I didn't reheat it. By noon, the smear went live. Patricia's bridge club shared her post like it was breaking news, calling me unstable, vindictive, selling her daughter's home out of spite. I scrolled once, twice, then stopped. Screenshots, full URLs, timestamps, all saved. I replied once, please retain your posts for counsel. Nothing else. Then I muted the thread and posted my own quiet update to church friends. The home sale follows estate planning and safety protocols. I appreciate privacy. My phone buzzed with messages of support, but I didn't answer. I don't chase chaos, I said softly. I file it. Around 3. The doorbell rang. 2 uniformed officers stood on my porch. Ma'am, we received a welfare call. Concern for an elder in distress. I smiled. Elder, maybe? Distress, no. I handed them my ID, medical proxy, an attorney's card from a labeled folder. "Everything in order. Gentlemen," one of them chuckled. "You're the most prepared woman we've seen all week." I asked for the incident number, logged it on the spot, and sent it to my lawyer. Before they left, I said, "Paperwork keeps me warm." That night, I sent short notes to my pastor and old board colleagues. If contact, direct inquiries to counsel, I set my social media to private, appointed my cousin Denise as spokesperson, and filed a defamation preservation letter listing Patricia's URLs. I changed the front door code again, third time this month. "I grew up church-trained and paper-trained," I whispered. Amen to both. Monday morning, an HOA volunteer emailed me. Anonymous complaint about unsafe renovations. I laughed out loud. I invited the inspector myself, made coffee, handed him receipts and permits. We discovered the attached photo was from a 3-year-old repair. Date printed right on it. "You can't weaponize the rule book with somebody who reads it for sport," I told him. He grinned, handed me a letter of compliance, and marked my record clean. After lunch, I sent certified mail to Patricia and Marcus. Cease and desist. My note read, "Choose peace. Choose paper." I texted Monique, "Counsel to counsel only." Nothing more. That evening, my neighbor Earl walked over. "You good, Miss Williams?" he asked. "I'm fine." Earl, "Porch light tells the truth." By sunset, my binder was thicker, heavier, proof layered like armor. Then another email arrived from the wedding venue coordinator. "We need to talk about a mix-up with a credit card and a request to delete certain receipts." I stared at the screen, jaw tightening. I opened a new tab in my binder. "Venue, receipts." I whispered. "When they push, I pivot." Then I picked up the phone and hit record. With consent. Monday morning arrived gray and thick with humidity, the kind of air that sticks to your skin before the sun finds its courage. My phone buzzed just as I set my coffee down. The screen flashed venue coordinator. I exhaled once, hit record, and said clearly, "You consent to being recorded?" She agreed. Her voice quivered as she admitted, "Patricia called the day after the wedding. She told us to lose some receipts, the ones with your name." I felt the old, familiar heat crawl up my neck, but my tone stayed calm. "Who exactly made the request? And when?" She hesitated, then named them. I wrote everything down. "Pen steady. Email me the ledger," I said, to PDF and scan, signatures visible, originals, not copies. She promised noon. I texted my attorney. Proof incoming, then sent my live location to Earl, my neighbor, who replied, "Watching from porch." By 10, I was already pulling into the venue lot. The coordinator met me at the door, clutching a binder thick as a Bible. Inside, lemon polish fought with the scent of nerves. "You wanted the ledger?" she asked. "And the truth," I replied. The first pages showed deposits. Each card name led straight to Patricia and Monique. One slip even noted, bride's mother declined appearance request. In the margin of a staff memo, a sharp line read, "Family asks, remove mother from all mentions." I traced the ink with my finger before snapping photos. "Paper doesn't lie," I murmured. "People do." I asked for certified copies. "Neutral affidavit attached." She nodded. Tears barely held. "I'll lose my job," she whispered. "No," I said. "You'll keep your integrity." I couriered the packet straight to council. Cloud backup done before my engine cooled. Not an hour later, gravel crackled outside my porch. I saw them through the window. Patricia in her floral blouse, Monique and Marcus behind, each holding a phone like a badge. I stepped outside, locking the door behind me, body cam light blinking red. "Mo, you're destroying our new life," Patricia shouted. I stood firm, spine tall. "Your new life started when you erased me," I answered. "I just restored balance." She gasped. Marcus looked ready to argue, but I lifted a page from my binder and began to read. "This property is under sale per legal contract. Continued harassment will be documented and prosecuted." I handed Marcus my lawyer's card. "Meeting's over, Manuel," I said. "You are being recorded." The silence that followed was almost holy. A notification buzzed as they backed away. Escrow confirmed cleared funds. My realtor forwarded the buyer's insurer's request for exclusive possession. I printed, signed, and posted the notice on the sidelight window. Only owner and license agents permitted until closing, it read. I attached HOA clearance, welfare check report, and compliance letter before sealing duplicates for counsel. This isn't drama, I said aloud. It's real estate. By mid-afternoon, I was compiling witness statements. Earl had filmed the porch exchange from his lawn chair, timestamp and all. Even my mail carrier agreed to note she'd seen the confrontation. At the church office, the secretary recorded a neutral memo. Members visited uninvited. Subject remained calm. That paper trail glowed brighter than any sermon. My former board colleague called back at dusk, confirming Patricia's smear thread had already been edited twice. She's cleaning up, she said. Then she's scared, I replied. Scared people make evidence. That evening, I posted my one statement. The home sale follows estate and safety protocols. False claims preserved. Direct inquiries to counsel. Comments off. Screenshots saved. A friend reposted factual clarifications. My message spread quietly, like ripples finding their edge. By dinner, the smear thread had vanished, every lie archived in my folders. Before bed, the coordinator texted again. Do you want the ugly truth or the clean version? Truth travels better in court, I said. Then my escrow officer confirmed. Funds cleared, Miss Williams. Copy that, I answered. Send exclusive possession. Earl called from next door, half laughing. You good? I'm good, I said, smiling. God gave me printers. Just as I turned off the light, another email arrived from the venue's security vendor. Attached was a still image from lobby footage. Patricia, mid-afternoon, handing back a torn receipt stub, the same date as her post calling me unstable. My chest tightened, not from fear, but certainty. I opened a new tab labeled Video, Chain of Custody. Proof didn't need volume, it just needed witnesses. The video loaded frame by frame. Slow as judgment. I sat at my kitchen table, light barely cracking through the blinds. There she was, Patricia, handing the shredded receipt stub straight into my daughter's palm. The coordinator's eyes darted away. I froze the footage. The timestamp lined up exactly with the day she called me unstable. My hand didn't shake when I zoomed in. My daughter unfolded a printed page, the header reading, "No mention of mom in announcements." The font matched her family update email from months before. I whispered, "You don't have to shout to erase somebody. A checkbox will do." I wrote down every time code, every blink, every truth that had lived in silence. I exported stills, hashed them, and labeled the folder, Truth VV4. Then I emailed my attorney and texted the coordinator. Preserve everything from wedding week. No edits, no deletions. By 10 a.m., my lawyer had drafted preservation letters for the venue. DJ, florist, and photographer. Each one carried my initials at the bottom. "We'll handle this cleanly," he said. "No noise, just evidence." I spent the morning assembling what I called the Nexus memo, a simple grid mapping captions to timestamps, social posts to payments. I added phone pings from lobby Wi-Fi logs that proved who was present. "You're not taking sides," I told the security vendor. "You're just telling the clock what it already knows." By noon, the affidavit requests were out. I watched the progress bars like a soldier watching radar, each confirmation a new shield clicking into place. At 2, my old board peer called. "I filed the incident memo," she said. Dates, reposts, and the anonymous handle we traced. Her voice was soft but sure. The church administrator added the welfare check number to my harassment file and issued a safety reminder to all ministry heads. The deacon left me a voicemail. "We'll stop rumor sharing in church channels." I smiled at that. Truth, it seemed, had started walking on its own legs. Late afternoon brought a satisfying turn. I retrieved the welfare check report from the sheriff's office. No distress observed. That single line dismantled the unstable mother narrative they'd pushed. I added it to my binder beside the HOA complaint letter. "If you call the cops on dignity," I said under my breath, "they'll side with the quiet lady holding receipts." I scheduled a notary for witness statements at the library. It wasn't vengeance. It was housekeeping. The dominoes began to fall. The venue coordinator texted, "I'm ready to tell the truth." The groom's employer contacted him over defamation concerns. My daughter quietly disabled comments on her wedding post. A florist confirmed Patricia had insisted on anonymity for optics. Every thread pointed back to image control, and every lie unraveled neatly. That evening, my daughter called. I recorded the disclaimer first. "For legal clarity, this call is being recorded." She sighed. "You embarrassed me. You erased me," I said. "It wasn't personal. It was precise." I laid out terms. No porch visits, no calls outside counsel, her things boxed for courier pickup. I offered a counseling stipend with a mutual non-disparagement clause. She whispered, "You chose money over me." "No," I replied quietly. "I chose safety over lies." When the call ended, I brewed chamomile tea and let the ache pass without bitterness. Night settled heavy but clean. I posted one factual line. Preservation letters issued, further communication through counsel. The board shared an ethics review notice. Names withheld. A neighbor dropped off a casserole and a note. "Proud of your calm backbone." I smiled. Strength doesn't always shout. It signs, stamps, and files. Near midnight, my attorney emailed. The groom's mother's lawyer threatened to go public. Seconds later, another ping arrived. The security vendor agreed to preserve all footage for court. I renamed the file Truth V5, ready for filing. Then I whispered the line I'd lived by all week. Deadlines are love letters to truth. Tomorrow, we'd file. The courthouse was cold in that particular way that reminds you truth has a thermostat of its own. I walked in at 8:03 a.m., binder tucked under my arm like a shield. My attorney whispered, "We have everything." I nodded. "In court, volume isn't power, paper is—" The judge entered. Eyes heavy but sharp. We laid out exhibits in order. Video stills, ledger, CAD welfare check, porch transcript. When the footage rolled, silence thickened. The groom's mother looked down as the screen froze on her hand passing that shredded stub. "Context?" the judge asked their counsel. "A misunderstanding," came the stammer. The tech affidavit authenticated every pixel. The venue's lawyer refused to challenge it. When the welfare check report appeared, the judge frowned. "Weaponized public resources?" My attorney rested his hand on the table. "Pattern of harassment, Your Honor." Then came the forensic bombshell, the burner account tied directly to the groom's mother's phone. Gavel strike, injunction granted, distance ordered. My hands never trembled. Minutes later, my phone buzzed, a retraction email. The caption that once mocked me now read, "Learning accountability is love." I didn't smile. I just sent one public line. Court order in place. Let the record speak. No fireworks, no hashtags. The church board circulated an ethics memo. The admin pinned a reminder against gossip. A cousin texted. "So you were right," I typed back. I was thorough. There's a difference. At noon, I signed the final grant deed. The title officer confirmed vesting. Revocable living trust of C. Williams, sole trustee. Insurance letters proved I alone paid every dime. Her house was never hers. The wire split 3 ways. Retirement, scholarship, emergency fund, I told the officer. This isn't revenge money, it's grown woman planning. Before leaving, I placed the ceremonial key on the counter with a note. May this home be honest. By afternoon. My attorney forwarded confirmation of S15. The burner handle traced back to Patricia's home Wi-Fi. Intent established, he said. "Oh, your silence worked better than any scream," my daughter texted. "You're ruining my life," I typed back. "No, sweetheart, I'm ending a lie." Then I remembered braiding her hair before 4th grade picture day. The same patience I now use to untangle my life. We met at the church lot at 4. 2 witnesses, phones recording. She wanted a cut. I showed her escrow papers proving the house was never in her name. "You can have counseling," I said. "Not hush money." She pushed again. I ended softly. Character isn't a coupon. I handed her a labeled memory box, each item inventoried and signed for pickup. Tears rimmed her eyes. But she didn't argue. That evening, I stood before a small community group to announce the new scholarship, first award reserved for daughters who care for their parents while studying. When I projected the deed timeline showing I'd purchased the house 3 years before the room exhaled. A neighbor asked, "Why still give after all this?" I said. "Because my win isn't her loss." The applause was quiet, but it felt like sunrise. Back home, I placed the keys duplicate in a small shadow box on my desk. Not a trophy, a boundary. The air smelled of peace and lemon polish. My phone chimed, an email from opposing counsel. Subject, proposed resolution. Attached was a signed apology from Patricia and a prenup clause revealing her son's future inheritance access. I laughed once, low and warm. "Good to know," I whispered. Then I closed my laptop, turned off the porch light, and let the silence finally belong to me. That night, just as I turned off the porch light, a soft knock echoed, 3 steady taps I hadn't heard in years. Through the glass, a shadow waited, holding a manila envelope marked confidential. Estate revision. My breath caught. Was it over? Or had the real reckoning only begun?